Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Your father was captain of a starship for 12 minutes.
He saved 800 lives, including your mother's and yours.
I dare you to do better.
Hello and welcome back to the DVD and Blu-ray section of this week's Monday Movie Show. Coming up in this part of the show, we have the latest UK DVD and Blu-ray top 10 and reviews of quite a lot of films this week.
Yeah, a lot of films that none of them are horror films, which annoyed me slightly. Yeah, we have Playing for Keeps, which is a romantic comedy drama, Django Unchained, which probably know what that is, and The Sessions, which is a drama, and I'm probably going to have slight difficulty in describing the film fully. Trouble with a Curve, another drama. Nothing But the Truth, another drama with a thrill element to it. Vehicle 19 and White Collar Hooligan 2, which I know somebody in the live chat, when he pops up in the live chat, would be interesting to hear what I thought about it.
But if you're listening to us live, as Stuart just mentioned there, the live chat is available in the bottom right hand corner of the Spreaker page, little yellow icon which has a number next to it. Click on that and it'll pop up with the chat window and you can give us feedback while we're doing the show. So let's go straight into the UK DVD and Blu-ray top 10, starting at number 10 with Fringe, the complete 5th series.
Yeah, I just want to point out with the live chat, if you listen back to the show, no point. Send us an email or a tweet about the show, but no point. It'll be stupid. Yeah, Fringe Season 5. We don't normally comment on TV series. It's the final series of Fringe, one of the TV series which I absolutely adored. I love Fringe. It went a bit screwy in the last couple of seasons. It really twisted with your mind, but it is really well handled, really well made.
Number 9 is the best comedy of the last year, Ted.
Yeah, I still want a Thunder Buddy. I want a Ted. A teddy bear.
We can't sing it, unfortunately.
Yeah, the closest I ever got to a Ted was a Teddy Ruxpin, which read a book along with you when you had a book when I was a kid, and that's the closest I had. But yeah, Ted is really funny.
Number 8 is J.J. Abrams' Star Trek,
which I think you liked more than Star Trek Into Darkness, and
yeah.
I treat them both the same. It was a good reboot of the series. It needed to be rebooted instead of using the crew from a previous Star Trek TV series. He decided to go with them. They weren't unknown actors, but they were on the cusp of like unknown actors, and making them all younger. It was a better idea to do it that way, and it's a really good film.
Number 7 is Jack Reacher,
which I'm sort of like in the minority by saying this movie's a bit average, to be honest. I thought that Tom Cruise was phoning it in slightly. It was just a bit of an easy role for him. It wasn't thrilling. It was okay for what it was.
Number 6, Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect. It's not too bad. It's not as annoying as I thought it would be. The musical numbers are fine. They've got really good voices, which makes the musical numbers better than what they should be. They do work. So it's not too bad.
Stuart in the live chat just said that Reacher was awesome.
It's not.
It is. Number 5 is The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey.
Peter Jackson can do much better than this. Not Lovely Bones better, because Lovely Bones is a weird, strange film, but considering that he did do the Lord of the Rings trilogy, this should have been better than what it was. It's a really good, I would say about 2-hour film. There is a lot that could have been cut away from the movie itself. Too much fat.
And number 4 is Quartet.
Yeah, it's a charming little British film, considering that it's directed by Dustin Hoffman. That is the only American part of the movie itself. The rest of the film is all cast by British actors. It's a charming movie, but that's all it is. It has a little bit of a charm to it, but it resonates more with an older audience than a younger audience. If you've got grandparents, they'll really enjoy it. But trying to sit down if you're a younger age, I don't think you'll get much from the film at all.
And holding steady in 3rd place, same as last week, Life of Pi.
Which is just, me and Andy agreed on the fact that it's a brilliant film. It's beautiful to look at, a fantastic score, brilliantly acted. Just a fantastic, fantastic film.
I think it's one as well. Would you agree, 3D or not 3D?
I haven't seen it in 3D.
Okay. And number 2, dropping down from the top spot, is The Impossible.
Yeah, so far my movie of the year. It's a bit of a shock, that, but it's just, The Impossible is just brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Gut-wrenching movie, really difficult to watch at times, but it's a fantastic movie.
Which means the new number 1 released this week is released last week, is Les Miserables.
Which again, it's a brilliant film. The top 3 is the 3 best films of the year, in my opinion. If you add Lincoln to that list, then you've got the 4 best films of the year, and that is the best 3 films of the year so far, in my opinion.
I still haven't seen Lincoln yet either, and I want to.
Yeah, Les Miserables. Stuart in the live chat says he doesn't want to watch it.
You must.
You should.
You must.
If you like The King's Speech, then you'll love this, because it's just a brilliantly acted film. The musical set pieces are just absolutely brilliant. Very well sung. Everybody has got a fantastic voice. Even Russell Crowe. He struggles slightly alongside Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman has a much more powerful voice of it than he does, but he still does a really good performance.
So that is the UK DVD and Blu-ray top 10 for this week. We're going to take a quick break now, after which we'll go straight into our first of 7 DVD releases reviewed.
Hey folks, it's Al the Bald Gamer Dude from Menage a Geek Podcast, and I'm here to ask you, what do you want in a podcast? Is it talking? Is it funny stuff? Is it 2 guys and a girl having a chat? Is it video game news? Is it movie news? Is it TV stuff? Is it just geek all out your ears and into your brain? If it is, then why are you not listening to us? We're on Spreaker, we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Twitter, all Menage a Geek. Menage a Geek. Listen to us.
So let's get straight into our first DVD review this week.
Yeah, it's Playing for Keeps. Booger in the live chat might be interested in this film because he loves romantic comedies. This is a romantic comedy drama. It's directed by Gabriel Muccino, and it stars Gerard Butler. I'm not going to do the impression. I promised I would never not do that impression, and I'm not. He plays an ex-foot... No.
Oh.
Because it's not that kind of film. If it was an action film starring Gerard Butler, then I would have probably gone, yeah, why not?
Can I do it then? Can I do it Gerard Butler in a style of a loving film, like Gerard Butler?
Actually, no, that sounds like you got the hots for him.
That was intended. That was what I meant. Hey, it worked. No. Kind of freaked myself out a bit there.
Yeah, just stay silent for the next few minutes, please. He plays George, who's an ex-football player. He's played for Celtic, he's played for Liverpool, and then he ends up going over to America and playing for the LA Galaxy. He has an accident which sort of like kills his footballing career, and he's tried his best to sort of like provide for his wife and son. His wife, played by Jessica Biel, they've now split, and he's finding it really difficult to get any kind of money. He lives in a small little apartment beside this huge massive house, and he can't pay his rent, he can't even keep down a job, etc. One day when he takes his son to a football match, his son's coach is just useless. He just stands on the sideline texting on his phone or talking on his phone, and he decides to take over the football team. Here's a clip.
Everybody, now listen up. Now, this is Lewis's dad, George. He's going to be your new coach. I'm going to be the assistant coach, which I'm fine with.
Thanks a lot, Coach Jacob. In any event, I'm Lewis's dad, and never coached before, but I have played the game since I was pretty much your age, and it's a great game. So the only thing I'm going to ask you guys to do on your own,
do 5-10 minutes a day, maybe passing the ball about with somebody, anybody you can find. I mean, you guys have all got, a brother or a mother or a sister or somebody. Yeah.
Coach, I had a sister, but she died.
Oh, really?
I have a brother, though. Should I play with him?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Coach,
okay.
My grandpa died of smoking. Coach, my dad sleeps in the maid's room, and my mom cries at night.
Okay, come on, kids, let's take the field.
Okay,
all right?
Excellent.
Okay,
beautiful.
As you heard from that clip there, that had a very Kindergarten Cop feel, because when he's in the class and the kids going, everybody dies sometimes and stuff like that's the kind of feel that had with me. I was thinking, this is very Kindergarten Cop-esque, seeing that I lost my sister but I have a brother, can I play football with him instead? The rest of the film is just George trying his best to get a career of some kind together. A lot of the parents seem to have the hots for him. The female parents, that is, not the male ones, because that would be really disturbing. Seems to have the hots for George because he is a football player, and they're thinking, yeah, that's really nice. But all George wants is to get back with his wife, played by Jessica Biel, and he just wants to get a job, and he has a chance of joining ESPN as a football correspondent. Now, in the film, you've got Dennis Quaid who pops up in it. You've got Uma Thurman as well, and Catherine Zeta-Jones, she pops up in the film. It's billed as a romantic comedy drama, and the whole idea of having a romantic comedy drama with a horror film, you can be really broad because you've got a really broad spectrum when it comes to horror films. With romantic comedy dramas, you're just limited to with the romance, with the comedy, and with the drama. You really need to get it exactly right, and the comedy just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It's not funny. There isn't any laughable moments in the movie at all. The drama part is not handled very well at all. It's just a very typical boring drama, and the romantic side of it is just wishy-washy. It feels like the kind of thing you would watch on a soap during the day in the 80s, like a Dallas or a Dynasty or something like that. It's just not handled very well at all. And when you mash them together, you just get a bit of a boring film, to be honest. When I was watching it, I was thinking, is this over yet? And then I checked it. I've got another 45 minutes left of it to watch. It just dragged. It's on for an hour and 45 minutes, and it did drag. It dragged past the hour and 45 minutes by a mile. It's just a boring film with very little happens in it, and it's not funny at all.
Okay, I have one question about it. Does it have Katherine Heigl in it at any point?
Nope.
No. Okay, that's all I need to know. Django Unchained, which is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It's his latest movie starring Jamie Foxx as Django and Christoph Waltz as Dr. King Schultz, who is a bounty hunter who turns up and at the beginning of the movie frees Django from a slavery chain gang where he's being held as a slave because the movie is set in the 1850s. It then develops into a friendship between the two of them as he makes a deal with him to help him find these brothers that he's looking for a bounty, so he can then arrest or kill them and collect the bounty on them. Shortly after that happens, they're then talking about the whole thing of that Django is married, his wife was also a slave and was sold off, and he wishes at some point in the future to find her, track down who her owner is, and arrange so that he can then free her and buy her freedom to join him as a free man or a free person. So the two of them then set out looking for this place, which is called Candyland, which is run by a man named Calvin Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. The two of them decide then what they're going to do is they're going to go undercover into Candyland and meet up with Candy in a way to sort of get in his pocket, get in his good graces as a couple of men who deal in slaves and slave fighters. Here's a clip.
What's your name, boy?
His name is Django Freeman.
Where'd you dig him up?
Well, fortuitous turn of events brought Django and myself together.
I've heard tell about you. I heard you've been telling everybody that Mandingos ain't no damn good. Ain't nothing nobody is selling is worth buying. I'm curious. What makes you such a Mandingo expert?
I'm curious what makes you so curious.
What did you say, boy?
Calm down, Butch. No offense given. None taken.
Monsieur Condé, I'd appreciate if you could direct your line of inquiry toward me.
One. You do not have anything to drink. Can I get you a tasty refreshment?
Yes. I'll have a beer.
Wunderbar. Roscoe, a beer for the man with the beard, and I will have a Polynesian pearl diver. Do not spare the rum.
So what you have with Django Unchained is essentially Quentin Tarantino Western. And you have this whole thing of the two of them teaming up and becoming sort of friends through this act of trying to get back Brumhilda, his wife. It's a rather typical Quentin Tarantino film in the dialogue, the action, the violence, and the blood and guts that you get in the scenes in the movie. The kind of graphic violence as well in a couple of scenes, there are a couple of scenes in it which are quite sort of strong to sit through, and you're like, oh, that's a bit harsh. But it is, if you've seen other Quentin Tarantino films, it's not overly so compared to them. It is more, I think, a little bit more restrained, although not as restrained as Inglourious. But you have this whole thing of that it's trying to be Quentin Tarantino's style film, but then trying not to be too, I think, over the top and too graphic, and it kind of succeeds in a way. The performances in it are fantastic, and I mean that's the reason why I think was it Christoph Waltz won for Best Supporting Actor?
Yeah.
And he deserved to win in this. Leonardo DiCaprio in this as well is a horrible, really dislikable character, and he's very good in it. You have Samuel L. Jackson, who pops up as one of his slaves, servant, but weirdly kind of friend, and he gives the most brilliant and kind of disturbing performance as well, as this kind of broken black man who has essentially become subservient to Leonardo DiCaprio's Calvin Candy, and he kind of in a kind of like he almost loves him like family. It's a very weird but very. There's a moment in it which I won't go into, but basically when he reacts to something and you're very sort of whoa, that wasn't expecting that, and it's all down to his performance. Jamie Foxx I thought was very good in it, but not as good as he could have been. I thought he's good for the film, but just there was something about him that just I wanted more. But I mean it is a typical Quentin Tarantino film. If you like Quentin Tarantino style, you will enjoy this. It's a bit long. It runs for 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is excessive. And unfortunately, when Quentin Tarantino turns up in the film later on as well, he's doing perhaps the worst Australian accent that you've ever heard. But if you can get past that, then I would say get this all down. It's out to buy and rent now. If you're not sure, rent it. Sit down for the night, get yourself popcorn, sit and enjoy it, and just watch it and enjoy it. Take it all in.
Yeah, a lot of people in the live chat is saying, starting Stuart from the movie show said, Django, great film, even though I fell out with Quentin Tarantino years ago, and Booger replied he enjoyed it, and then he replied back still, I still think every character speaks the same dialogue. They all speak like Quentin Tarantino. It's the way he writes, though.
There is that. I mean, another thing I will say, because I did mention this with Baz Luhrmann's Great Gatsby in the first film, which also starred Leonardo DiCaprio, oddly enough, but the whole thing of that there's music in the film, one thing I didn't like is just this whole thing that I call it music out of context. Too modern music used for a film that's set in the Western times, as when this is set in the 1850s. That is one of the things that I really did not like. It's got this hip hop vibe going through certain bits of it because the main character is black. There's no real reason other than that. It kind of works, but then again, kind of doesn't work. And there's certain scenes, there's an action scene, a shootout, when this music is playing, and I just really wanted there to be no music. I would have loved it if it had just been the sound of the shootout. Would have worked better for me. But I mean, like I said, that's maybe just me because it's been done in other films. I found that annoying, but it's like I said, it's a staple of this film, and it's a staple of Quentin Tarantino. He never does new music for his films. He always uses old music.
And what Quentin Tarantino needs to do is he needs to be able to write and direct a woman character, a female character. He has major problems with female roles, and it's evident in this, and it was probably the same in, Inglourious had a quite strong female character, but he really does need to learn how to direct and write a female character properly.
He also needs to learn that when he's going to make an appearance in a film, it needs to be no longer than Ricky Gervais appears in a film, and without doing any dodgy accents.
No, he should just not appear.
I don't mind him appearing. I don't mind him appearing because I mean he can act. I mean, there's From Dusk to Dawn. He's great in that. In Pulp Fiction, he was fine in that. He wasn't in it very much, and he played this kind of guy who was a bit annoyed at the situation he found himself in, and he just worked fine in that. But in this, no, he just doesn't work in this.
Well, From Dusk Till Dawn, he was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, who loves to kill him in every film that he can.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people saying Jackie Brown, but can you name another film apart from Jackie Brown that Quentin Tarantino's done where the female character is pretty strong? You wouldn't be able to. He hasn't been able to write a female character since Jackie Brown. So,
well, Pulp Fiction. Mia Wallace.
Maybe. Next film, The Sessions, directed by Ben Lewin. It stars John Hawkes, who plays Mark. He's at the age of 38. He's a polio sufferer. He's actually asked to spend his life in an iron lung. He can spend about 4 hours out of the iron lung, but he has to have a sort of like an oxygen kind of mask with him at times because it's really hard for him to catch his breath. His muscles do not do what he originally intends, so he has to spend his life in an iron lung. The whole thing that he wants, he hasn't lost his virginity. At the age of 38, he has not lost his virginity. He tells this to his priest, who's played by William H. Macy, and comes up with an idea where he gets a sex therapist of sorts. This woman, she definitely says that she's not a prostitute, but she doesn't mind what prostitutes do, and she, for money, should provide him pleasure, but not the same kind of thing a prostitute would do. And she's played by Helen Hunt. Here's a clip.
I felt cursed. That the whole enterprise was cursed. It seemed like a totally just punishment. God wasn't actually denying my sexuality. He was just pointing out to me how useless it was.
It's amazing to me how often God is brought into the sex act. I understand even among non-believers, the most common expression of sexual ecstasy is, "Oh God."
Yeah, and so the rest of the film is John Hawkes' character sort of like establishing a relationship with Helen Hunt's one, and ultimately losing his virginity, achieving the goal that he wants to achieve. That's basically the story of the film itself. It's brilliantly acted by John Hawkes as a polio sufferer. It's an extreme version of polio because I had a parent who had polio, but she had it in her legs, and his character has got it in his whole body, so much so that he does need the help of an iron lung to be able to do his day-to-day business, and he gets help from it's like nurses who come in, specifically one played by Moon Bloodgood, who takes a liking to him and pushes him around to a house, a person who's disabled, who he decides this is the best place for him to have sex with Helen Hunt's character, and then ultimately onto a motel, because there is a scene where he finds out that he turned up on a day where she's having a party. It's just brilliantly acted. Both John Hawkes and Helen Hunt are fantastic in it. Helen Hunt does spend a lot of the film naked, completely naked, and you do see anything. And for her age, she's actually quite nice to look at. If you put sounds horrible, but if you put a bag over her head, you would probably think she's mid-30s. And I'm saying Quentin Tarantino is really bad with female roles, and so I've just gone and said something like that. But it's sort of like agreeable.
Yeah, that's a bit sort of below the belt, isn't it?
I know, but yeah, she does spend a lot of the film quite naked, and me and Andy were having a little bit of a discussion about this before that we started the show, and it's a tad too much. It is a little bit too much, because once you've seen it once or twice, and she does it for like the fourth time, you're thinking, will you just put your clothes back on, please? Because we've seen your nipples now. Yeah, they're fine, lovely. The descriptions of the sex acts as well is quite sort of like cross your legs cringeworthy. The details that they go in it. There was one scene, I can't see it on here because it's really hard for me to describe on a show where we can't see swear words or anything like that. But it did make me laugh, because John Hawkes' character has difficulty in breathing, and it's during a scene that involves Helen Hunt. I don't know if you can pick that up, Andy.
I think I know which one it is, yeah.
Yeah, and he finds really difficult, and they decide not to do what they were doing. and that sort of like made me smirk a little bit. And John Hawke's character, he does do these little quips during the film itself. But yeah, I highly recommend the Sessions. It's a really good film.
I just want to say as well, I think that the performance in it, there's not any bad performance in the film. It's a good drama. It's kind of well written. I think it's based on a true story as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of these films that's based on a true story. How much of it is actually true to the real story or not, we don't know. But it's one of those ones that you're like, it's based on a true story. And you know what? It's actually a pretty good film. Which doesn't always happen. A lot of the time it's based on a true story. You're kind of like, oh, this is going to be bad. It's not. It's a good film. Trouble with the Curve, which is written by Randy Brown, directed by Robert Lorenz, stars Clint Eastwood as Gus, who is a man who is basically a baseball scout. He is going through doing his normal thing. He is sort of coming up on potentially ending his career because he only has 3 months left on his contract with one of the baseball teams. He's being sent out around the country, and in particular to one place to look at this player who everyone is getting all excited about. There are all these different sort of other scouts coming along as well, one of which is played by... I'm really struggling with names again tonight. I don't know what's up. There's another one played by Justin Timberlake, who plays another character who's a younger, up-and-coming scout for one of the competing baseball teams. The two of them sort of know each other and are kind of friends because Gus found him when he was before he was a player, and brought him to the game. But then, because of events when he had problems with his arm, he wasn't able to play anymore. So he then ended up becoming a scout like Gus. Things seem to be going okay for Gus until one day he's out there sitting in the bleachers watching the game being played when he starts having problems with blurry vision in certain areas that he can't see. And you then discover that he has problems with his eyesight, which he's keeping secret from everyone else because of the fact that he doesn't want everyone to know this, and he's concerned about this problem of everyone learning that he's having a problem with his sight, so he can't do his job. In the meanwhile, his daughter, played by Amy Adams, she then comes into the picture because she is working as a lawyer. She's in a company where she's doing really well and having this whole thing of that she's about to be up for a partnership in a company. It ends up that a character played by John Goodman, who is essentially Gus's boss, working at the baseball company, who comes out to see Gus because of the fact that he is a little bit concerned about him. Here's a clip.
Gus, did you ever think in a million years that computers would be a part of this game?
Computers? Anybody who uses computers doesn't know a damn thing about this game.
You know, if you wanted to, you could access any high school or college roster, pull the stats on any player anytime. You wouldn't have to waste your time with all these papers.
I'm not wasting my time. I enjoy doing this.
You know, they got a special program now that can calculate a player's stats, and based on the competition he's seen, tell you whether or not he's ready for the next level. Do you believe that?
Yeah, what else does it tell you? When to scratch your ass.
I don't like them either. But they're a part of the business now.
Pete, scouts, good scouts, they're the heart of this game. They decide who's going to play, and if they're lucky, they decide how it's going to be played. But a computer, that can't tell if a kid's got instincts or not, or if he can hit a cutoff man or hit behind the runner, or look into a kid's face that's just gone 0 for 4 and know if he's going to be able to come back the next night like nothing's happened. No, a computer can't tell you all that crap, I'll tell you. No.
So after that experience of meeting with Gus and being a little concerned about him, John Goodman's character then contacts Mickey, Amy Adams' character, and says to her that, you know what, your dad's maybe not in the best situation. He doesn't know exactly what's wrong with him, but he can tell something's not right. So he says to her maybe she'd want to go and join him on the road and go out to see how he's doing in the scouting and help him out a bit. The thing is, this film is a mix-up between being a good drama with an issue between Mickey and Gus, who have this issue in the past that kind of is unsettling between the two of them. They have this problem that they don't have a greatest of relationships because Gus's wife has died some years earlier, and so the two of them haven't been good friends since then, haven't had a good relationship. You also have this thing of the the relationship between Amy Adams and Justin Timberlake that then starts to become this weird kind of, they start having a romantic relationship and start kind of dating while they're doing this thing of doing the scouting and stuff during the day. It kind of doesn't know which it wants to be. It doesn't go in more one direction of one or the other. It kind of meanders between the two, takes too long doing it, and ends up not knowing which it wants to be. If it wants to be a romantic film, if it wants to be a drama, if it wants to be both, and it kind of can't settle between the two. It's not 2 hours long, but it still feels like it is too long. It's an hour and 50 odd minutes. And it just, because it takes so long, when you get to a certain point, you're like, come on, go in this direction. Be a romantic comedy bit, or be a dramatic bit, you know. And it kind of goes, you know what, I'm going to sit right here and I'm happy here. I don't want to do either of them. And I just wanted so much more from that. Especially the scenes where you've got Clint Eastwood, who is undoubtedly one of the best actors that there are still. I mean, the guy is a legend. And the scenes with him and Amy Adams are good, but they don't push it enough that they could be what they should be. The whole thing of and there is an issue, which you find out later on what it is, and it kind of pops up, gets glossed over, and then drops. And it's a big thing, which you think later on you come into it and you go, wow, that should have been like the whole crux of the last half hour of the film. And it's not. It's dropped in like a 2 or 3 minutes of film. That it doesn't even get 5 minutes to go, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is what... And that kind of annoyed me. It felt like it wasn't committing to anything. Like I said, you've got Clint Eastwood in there. He's good in the film. He's not brilliant, but not because of Clint Eastwood. It's just not a brilliantly written film. Amy Adams, likewise, is good. She could stand toe-to-toe with Clint Eastwood in the film, playing father and daughter. She does so in this, but it's really weak because it's just not really well done. And Justin Timberlake is in the film when he's in the film. He's not in the whole film, but when he's in it, he's perfectly fine. He's very likable, but I wanted it to do more. I was very disappointed, and it takes so long to get to where it's going. You kind of like think, did I really need to sit through that? And the answer is no.
Yeah, we're going to have to steamroll through this because we've got 13 minutes left and 3 films to do. So, Nothing But the Truth, directed by Rob Lurie. It stars Kate Beckinsale, who plays Rachel Armstrong, who's she works for a newspaper. She decides to write a piece on the presidential thing that he supposedly bombed an area, and she gives away a name in the paper, Eric Van Doren, who's played by Vera Farmiga, and she then gets herself into major trouble because of the piece that she's written. A person is brought in, Patton Dubois, played by Matt Dillon, and he wants to find out who her sort of like a source is where she's getting all this information from. Here's a clip.
But what can I do for you? I know you can't tell me who your source is. I respect that, okay? I know about keeping secrets. Just tell me yes or no, right? Is it someone close to me? Is it? Is it someone I work with?
I can't tell you anything.
You know what? When you go before the grand jury, you will have to speak. You are an unpatriotic little... Okay. It's gonna walk right off the plank in the bowels of hell. Do you know that?
I hear that every day. If you want to go on record, we'll give you amazing placement.
Oh, thank you.
And from there, everything just goes majorly downhill for Rachel Armstrong. She ends up getting put in prison because she will not reveal her source. So her lawyer, who's played by Alan Alda, he's not helping out, even though he's supposedly one of the best lawyers around. And she supposedly thinks that she might be in there for a couple of weeks, but it goes on for more than that. It goes on for hundreds of days, and she loses touch with her son, her husband, who's played by David Schwimmer as well, somebody who works at the paper with her, played by Noah Wiley, and Angela Bassett, who's her character's always stuck by us in that she will stick by her through thick and thin. It's a good film. It's a really good film. It's just too long. It's very long. Me and Andy had a joke about the fact that it skips like 100 days and it feels like you've watched the film for that long. But that's not to say that it's a bad film, because it's really well acted by Kate Beckinsale. She normally gets a lot of the roles that she in is like action films. You look at the Underworld series, and she's not very good at that at all. But She's really good in this. Everybody's actually really good in this. All the acting is fantastic. Matt Dillon, he's really evil. His character is very vindictive. David Trimmer's probably the weakest. He's a bit of a moaner as a husband. He can't even stick by his wife with what it does. But it's a really well-made film, if a tiny bit too long.
Vehicle 19, which is the latest movie, again starring Paul Walker. It's written and directed by Mukunda Michael Duell, and it's basically stars Paul Walker as Michael Woods, a guy who has arrived in South Africa. He gets into the country having been just recently released in the States from prison. He's jumped his bail basically and left the States illegally, coming over to there to try and see someone who is important to him. You don't really find out who that is till later on in the film, but he keeps calling this person, trying to arrange a time to meet them. Starts off with him getting a rental car that he picks up from the airport. He gets the wrong car because of the fact of that he gets there and finds it's the wrong car he's been left. Someone's mixed up things, but he's in a rush. He's running late, so he phones up the rental company and says, "This is the wrong car, but I'll take it anyway." Before hanging up quickly, and you can hear them saying, "No, so we need to get this sorted out." But what he doesn't realise is he's driving along. He has these things happening. He finds a phone that starts ringing in the glove compartment, and he reaches under the chair and finds a gun of all things. So he starts to freak out a little bit, wonder what's going on. Answers the phone a couple of times, and someone hangs up as soon as he answers. He stops the car, gets out, and decides he's going to drop it there. But then a mysterious thing happens, and the phone starts ringing. Here's a clip.
Hey.
Hello, Michael.
Yeah, I just thought you should know I'm not playing your stupid game. I'm out of here. I left your van, your gun, your phone.
Michael.
You can have it all, buddy.
My name is Detective Smith. Look, we're in the middle of a covert operation at the airport. There was a mix-up. That car was meant to be picked up by one of our undercover police officers. We appreciate that this was just a random mistake and that you're only an innocent party in this.
That's good. That's good news.
You're not to blame here. We know what happened. You're good.
You have no idea.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. We've got another car for you. So we'll send you the address and we can swap it over, okay?
Okay, great.
So after that, he then tries to find this location, has trouble doing so, and eventually things become more and more apparent that he's got himself way in over his head, and things are not quite as the person on the phone described, and not quite as they seem. The thing with Vehicle 19 is it is a small film. It is, and it does have a feel of, I'm not sure how much it cost, but it didn't cost a lot from the look of it. It is a kind of almost like a real-time film, and it's quite well done in that respect. There is this thing of the way it's shot. It's all shot from inside the car. So you have that scene there just now where you had him walking away from the car and he comes back to it because the phone's ringing. The shot of him is just him, you see, looking out of the window. The camera is looking out of the window of the car, watching him walk away and then stop and come back. The whole film starts off like that, with him walking towards the car, with him in the car, and then there's not a single shot of the film that takes place outside of the car. In that respect, it's very clever, it's very nicely done, and it's a nice idea, but it's not a great film. It does have problems with the script. It's trying to stretch out the story that it does it's 85 minutes long, so it's not long, but it needs more to stretch it out, to fill it in a bit more. So if you're looking for a cheap, low-budget film to check out and see something that's quite visually and well shot and impressively done, check it out. Otherwise, Vehicle 19 is maybe not your thing.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly do White Collar Hooligan 2, and I know Stuart from the movie show from Page to Screen is going to be really interested to find out what I thought about this. It's directed by Paul Tanter, who I read that he's done 8 films in the last 3 years. If that's the case, that's a lot, because he directs and writes his films. So that's a lot of films to do in the last 3 years. It directly follows on from the original The Rise and Fall of the White Collar Hooligan. It's a very long title. And it's centres around Nick Naverne's character, who plays Mike Jacobs. He's moved to the Costa del Sol because in the original film you see an opening sequence where it shows what happens in it. He's ratted out a lot of nasty characters in London, and he's had to go to the Costa del Sol under witness protection. His best friend, who's played by Simon Phillips, he's sort of like split off from me. He's gone to America now, and while in the Costa del Sol at a football match, he is spotted by 2 people who's technically looking for him, and he's then told that he's got to come up with £2 million, the money that supposedly stole, or his wife will be killed by this this nefarious guy who's run a lot of football clubs across Europe. That's the basic crux of the story. It's not fair giving too much away of it because there is an interesting little twist in the film in the film itself. It's low budget, and you get what you're given with this film. The acting is not too bad. Nick Naverne is probably the strongest acting in the whole film itself. He handles his character pretty decently. It's not as jarring as a lot of these films can be. They are pretty jarring to watch. And it's not that bad. There is nice comedy elements here and there. There's really actually quite a double act between Nick Naverne's character and Simon Phillips' character, and I really enjoyed that. It would be nice if they just have a film of their own without all this gangster stuff going on. And so those two characters are really well, but you'll get what you're given with this kind of movie. If you go in expecting this big sort of like American gangster film, you'll be sorely just disappointed by it badly. But if you think that it's a British film done on a really small budget, done on a very short period of time, done by actors who only do these kind of films, then you'll find it to be a not bad film, because that's what it turns out to be. It's just not bad. The production values are a bit basic, but it's not bad for what it is.
That's it for this week's Monday Movie Show. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening to us live, guys, in the chat, thank you very much. If you're listening to us anywhere else, then feel free to give us some feedback on things like iTunes or YouTube. You can also contact us at mondaymovieshow.co.uk. There's ways to contact us there on the site and through Twitter. There's at Monday Movie Show. There's Stuart, can be reached at Cryptic Tadpole, myself at AHDVD. Quickly going to say TV movie of the week for me is Man on Fire, showing on Film 4 this Thursday, the 23rd of May at 11:05 p.m. It's a Tony Scott directed Denzel Washington revenge flick, which is very gritty but very, very good film, sort of revenge flick. Do you have a TV movie for this week?
Yeah, I have two. The Crazies on Film 4, it's the remake, not the original Crazies, which was a Stephen King film. This Crazies, it's Film 4, Saturday the 25th at 11:40. And if you stick around, if you're still up, watch The Host, the Japanese host, not the Stephanie Meyer's host, and that's on at 1:35.
Movie of the week?
The Sessions.
Okay, I'm going to say Fast and Furious 6 if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, otherwise The Great Gatsby. Just a quick few shout outs to some friends, and some of them in the chat as well. You've got followingthenerd.com, who have a show on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. The Lolacost, who you heard in the first part of the show, they have an ad there, lolacost.co.uk. From Page to Screen, which is Stuart listening in, who's in live chat just now, from Page, the number 2, screen.com. And there's also Menage a Geek, who you heard an ad for in the show. I don't have their website address, but you can find their leader, Alan.
They don't have a website.
They don't have one, okay. At Bald Gamer Dude, but they are on Spreaker as well, so you can find them on Spreaker. Yeah. There's also the charity that we always give a shout out to each week, the CERN Foundation, SERN Foundation.org.uk. Have a look in there and give a contribution to them as much as possible if you can. Until next week at 7:30 again, Monday, we'll be back. We'll review, among other things, this little movie coming out on Thursday the 23rd. We'll leave you with a clip for that. Until then, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
So we talked to Tracy today, and she said that the treatment facility that I found is really nice.
It's beautiful. I checked it out online. Great reputation.
They should just save their money and send him to fat camp.
Phil!
What? I mean, he should lose some weight. He'll find a woman. That's what he needs. The dude's lonely.
Well, if he's so lonely, why don't the two of you spend more time with him?
No, trust me, you don't want that.
No, you definitely don't want that.
Oh, come on. He's not that bad. I mean, what's the worst that's happened? The tattoo?
Yeah, the tattoo's the worst. Right?
Definitely. Tattoo was the worst. Nightmare. Speaking of which, you ever get tested?
Excuse me?
You know, because of the ink that went inside you.
I'm fine.